My name is Anna Andersane, and I am one of the initiators of Riga TechGirls. And today, at the first TechGirls meetup, I wanted to share my story, my way, my journey into the tech industry, and maybe it will be also a little bit personal on how it is to be not just a girl, but also a mother and work in the tech industry, and especially in my case, it's in startup. So these are my actually four steps that I've taken so far. At first, I started my career in advertising, and 9 years ago, I co-founded a graphic design studio, Hungry Lab. Then we built with the Hungry Lab team. We built the web design engine, Berta, and afterwards developed it into a next level product, Fruit. And finally, 2 years ago, we opened the mill. So these are like 4 milestones. In the meantime, I had 2 other milestones which are not connected to tech that much. Sometimes trying to connect to tech more than I want them to. But those are my daughters. They are 7 and 4 years old. So if we look at this road, then my first daughter Carolina was born when 1 year after I started Hungry Lab, a little bit more than 1 year, almost 2 years. And then Eliza was born 6 months before we started Fruit. So my second daughter has basically always had a startup mom. So Hungry Lab was a fun thing. We were doing design for clients, and when we started it, I had this belief that the future will be digital, and so a big part of the graphic design studio was web design, and we were doing everything for the second screen. At that time, it was the second screen. So at that time, TV was the first screen where advertising was done, like TV ads, and computer was the second screen. I believe that now, computer is not the second screen, and actually the first screen is our mobile phones. So everything has changed in these just couple of years, less than 10 years. We had this core team of 5 people, but then we had 2 more, so 7 people in Hungry Lab. And we started the digital products. And what we had there was that we had friends who needed to have a website. At that time, everybody thought, okay, I can put my work on the web, and then the world will get to know me. So people started building their websites, and they came to us. They said, can you help us build a website? And we couldn't help everyone build a website, but what we could do is we could build a tool that they can use to build their website. So this is what we did with Berta. And Berta is an open source product, so if you don't use our hosting, then it's for free. And people started using it, not just in Latvia, but also in Spain and in Netherlands and all over the world. And afterwards, we also made it responsive so that it works on all the screens. But we realized in 2011 that the world is changing, and this technology had become already a little bit old. So what we see here is that we started something in 2008, and already 3 years later, the technology is old. This is what Alice was actually talking about. Everything is changing so fast in this industry, and new things appearing all the time. But on Berta, we have a lot of people building their websites. And in the meantime, so we built Berta and Hungry Lab, and then there was the big economic crisis. It started in summer, autumn 2008. And that was also the time when I got married. So it was actually on the very end of the hype. If some of you are old enough to remember 2007, when we were thinking that in 5 years we will all own yachts and we will all be able to fly our 100 of our friends to Greece, to the islands for a party. That was the time that we was there. But when I got married, there was the crisis. I don't know if it's connected. So I was a little bit confused. So what to do now? I have this, just started this company, Hungry Lab, and I can't pay the salaries anymore because clients are paying me, like, at first it was around 20,000 lats per month, and that summer it was my returns were like 3,000 lats. I couldn't pay the salaries. Everybody had high fixed salaries, and in this confusion, something helped me. Yeah, we went to this honeymoon trip, and I got pregnant. Yay! So what I did, I went to work online, and all my team went to work online. Our developer moved to Berlin, our designers moved to Amsterdam, to Netherlands, and we continued working online. We minimized the costs, and whatever, we were still with projects, we were doing graphic design, we were doing web design, we were still developing Berta, it was all happening online. And I hired my sister. This is my wonderful sister, Elina, who was actually the marketing coordinator for Microsoft. Not connected to Microsoft helping Riga TechGirls though. Yeah. But yeah, so she's on her maternity leave with her third daughter right now, who looks very similar to my daughter in the very beginning. And here I will have a learning and a tip afterwards about having people surround you who can help you. So my sister was helping me, and we were still working on the project. So we were doing it together. We were going to meetings together. She was walking with a carriage outside with my daughter. I was talking, or she was talking, and I was doing something with my daughter. So there's always a possibility to solve it, if that's what you want. So we, in that time, when I was bringing up my just born daughter, we did very branding. We did Valmermoja website. We did Sadoni for a Norwegian client. We did Kraski website. So we were still doing some things that you might recognize. And afterwards, I went to work at the magazine Ir, if you've heard about that. So just when my daughter was turning 1 year old, Ir was established, and they asked me to come and work for them as marketing and sales director. So I did that because I thought that independent media is necessary in Latvia. And at Ir, doing marketing at Ir, I was also doing a lot of digital projects, marketing, communication, digital projects. But so you already know that I have a second daughter. When she kind of appeared, then I left Ir. They still were congratulating me on having the second daughter, but afterwards I didn't go back. Why didn't I go back? Because when my daughter was 6 months old, we got into Startup Sauna, the accelerator in Finland, with our new product, Frunt. So we were working together with two other co-founders, Sandis and Andris. At first, Frunt started with guys having hackathons in the basement of our friend. And later, so these are the three co-founders of Frunt. We applied for Startup Sauna, and that's how the real startup journey began. Those of you who heard my speech a couple of weeks ago at Femtech, I already mentioned that when we were building Berta, we didn't know we were doing a startup. And when we were doing Frunt, we already knew, so we were taking all the kind of right steps that the startups take. And one of those is to get into a startup accelerator. And our goal when we went to Finland was to come back with an investment. So, what happened? Okay, I'll tell a little bit about Frunt for those of you who don't know. So Frunt is a tool for web designers that helps more designers become web designers. You don't need to know coding, but if you know a little bit of coding, it will be helpful. But you don't need to know coding, and you can make websites, real live websites, just by visually dragging and dropping things and changing colors, adding pictures and logos. So that's what Frunt does. This is how it looks, and with Frunt you can immediately publish your website. You can just add a domain name and it's there, voila, the world can see it. Or you can export the code and put it on your server and use it like that. And it's for professionals. If you compare Berda and Frunt, Berda is for anybody, anyone can build a website, and Frunt is more for professionals. So here I was, my youngest daughter, 7 months old, my older daughter, 3 years old, and I need to go to Finland. A little bit confusing what to do. But I left my older daughter with my husband, and we went with Elisa. I put her, there was a funny story. When we were flying to Finland, usually you're allowed to take the carriage until the very end, till the plane. But I was alone with my 8-month-old daughter at that time, and they told me to put the carriage into that bag. So I put the carriage into that bag, and I have to carry my daughter and my bag and that carriage in that bag to the plane in the airport. So I think this is a little bit similar of what you have to do when you're in a startup. Like it's a lot of challenges, and you have to somehow figure it out. I got a guy, thanks to that guy who was helping me, he brought my carriage, carried my carriage. And then we were there for 3 weeks, me and my daughter in Finland. We were living in this very small hotel room together with my partner Sandy, sharing one room. I had mattresses on the floor where we were sleeping, and she was coming with me every day to start up sauna. I was cooking food there for all of us. We were having dinners, and here's a girl I hired in Finland who was helping me. She was taking my daughter to, when she was sleeping, she was taking her on carriage rides outside, and those were the 2-3 hours I could work like maximum. And at other times I was just participating, listening. Sometimes some of the girls who were there were taking care of my baby when I was presenting, and things like that. And then late in the evening, so a startup sauna starts at 8. So we had to get up every morning at 7. I would make porridge, then we would take a bus to the startup sauna, then we would work all day, and at some 9-10 o'clock when the last buses were going back, we would go back to the hotel, go to sleep on our mattresses. When she fell asleep, I sometimes still was working till some 2 o'clock at night, and then waking up at 7 again. And she learned to walk there. So this is in startup sauna. My daughter learning to walk. Then there was the Slush. Anybody of you here knows Slush? Some people know. Okay. Slush is one of the biggest startup conferences in Europe. It's in Helsinki. Every time it happens, there is also a startup sauna batch that presents. And so this is Sandy, my partner. So we were also presenting at Slush. And for that week, my husband with the other daughter came to us, and he was taking care of the girls. And when I was at the conference, he came with the girls so I could feed my baby, and then he went away again. So when they came, when I was doing this presentation, I was like remembering all these things. And sorry if it's boring for you, but it was fun for me to remember this. How when they arrived, they were both so happy to see each other after of absence. I can't hear the sound here. And my older daughter, when she was watching me preparing the pitches, I was standing on the stage, my husband was filming me, and I was like repeating the pitches again and again and again. and she was also learning from that. She stood on the stage and she was mumbling something in